We're back again. Boom. The Nasty
Welcome to
Exchange.
Exchange.
This is the duo, brother sister duo. I am Trina.
I'm Charles.
Yeah. And the Nasty Exchange, we talk about all type of things. Politics, life, relationship, all type of things.
We don't start we don't start
Yeah, we
about
just we
life.
normally have good conversation between us. So we're like, we just share it with y'all. We
Let
just
us
gonna share.
record it.
Yeah, because this is what
That was-
literally this is how we
let's record
talk on a regular basis.
Let's record it. Let's just record it. Let's just record it and put it out there and see what happens.
Yeah, seafood and see if you guys have the same
So,
kind of thought we have.
you
So we don't know.
understand? So that
Here
is
we
so
go.
this is the exchange.
Yeah, this is the exchange. Welcome. If you are returning, thank you. If you are new, thank you again. Like, comment, subscribe. And again, we love comments. We read everyone. We try to respond to everybody. So leave your comments. It is the exchange room. So leave your comment in the exchange. Let's
All
go.
right,
Don't
as we
talk
say,
about it. We
as
don't
we
have to
say,
all agree, but this is where we start with having a conversation so that we can understand if we have different points of view. We can understand where each other is coming from. So guess what? Whether you're nasty or you can't see, the point right now. Clean up your heart and come. Let's talk about it. This is where it
all
begins
right.
with a
So,
discussion. Let's go.
all right. So we've recently been on a journey.
Oh yes, we're on a journey. The
Like, because
mutant.
life is a journey. You got it every day. Once you're alive above ground, it's a blessing. Like,
And
you live.
there's something else you're gonna learn about yourself, I swear.
Go yourself. And I
Yeah.
realized recently that when you're, some people use the word like highly sensitive or empath and all of these other wonderful words. But sometimes when you are, some people just say fixer, you're the person that likes to see everybody else okay, everybody else all right. You try to make everybody else comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize how much that becomes a part of you and how you actually grow to like that. You understand? You like the fact that you're reliable. You like the fact if somebody happens and they brought their phone and call you, you're the first person to pick up their phone and call. It's like a weird, enough ego, right word, or
Wait
ego.
now. Iyanla have a thing.
Weird.
She says, "What's your drug?"
You understand? It's like a,
She
yeah.
always does that. She says, "What's your drug?" And what you're talking about is not a bad thing. You see me? I say like
It's not,
helping people, being helpful towards other people. It's not a bad thing.
but
However,
you understand? It's about the boundaries though, and it becomes a bad thing when you get high off of it. It's like when you get high off your own supply. You don't and sometimes
but
you don't realize
you
it
don't realize it.
until
That's the craziest thing because this is how God created you to be. God created you to be a person that is a helper. You have people that they're born helpers. They're helpers, they're givers. Like when you do, like the other day I did like a what they call it, personality survey. And my one of my number one was a nurturer. Number one was a nurturer, number two was a guardian. And the nurturer is that type of individual, and it can be a guy, girl, doesn't matter. They're the person is like you describe. They want everybody to be okay. If you're in a group with a nurturer, they're feeling to make sure the group is okay. Like when other people, like for example, they have a personality trait that they're the pioneer. They're not sensitive to nobody's shit. Their thing is, there's the goal. We have to conquer the mountain. Let's go. And they're not going to take your bitching, your whining, your moaning, your complaining, and they're just like, shut the hell up and let's go. You have people like that. The nurturer is like, they're the ones who are taking the temperature and know that, okay, yeah, we need to conquer the mountain, but listen, Mr. Pioneer, the way you're doing it, you are not your people. You're gonna have a mutiny, or they in the night they're just gonna desert. You wake up in the morning all by yourself. You
sometimes it's
need
not
that nurturer to be like, yo, maybe you need to have a day of rest, or can you just say thank
sometimes
you?
but sometimes the nurturer probably doesn't even talk to the pioneer. Sometimes the nurturer is the one in the back that, if this person scrapes a knee, they're there with the band-aid.
With the
If this
band-aid.
person needs the water, they're the one that gets them the water.
Ah,
If this
okay.
person
Yes.
is
Yep.
a little bit tired, they probably take the backpack for a
In the
minute.
back, and they're
Like,
doing, but
they're doing all of that in
they're,
the
and
back.
yes,
But the person is the pioneers at the front, he's breaking the way. But the person that nurtures in the back,
they're
making
the
sure
one that's making sure the troop is
everybody's
still
okay.
moving and people are, yeah, and they're the ones who are taking care of everybody else and making sure that, we good, and and keeping things from coming to a head. However, like you said, when you don't have proper boundaries with that.
Because two things happen when we realize. One, and people love say this. Oh, me a good person, always get me have good heart, everybody use me. Two things happen.
Isn't that the thing?
Two things happen. Wait, two things happen. One.
Yep.
They have that dynamic where you feel like, oh my God, everybody uses you and but you always set up yourself to be used again.
Mm-hmm.
And then two, the one that I'm talking about, where you're not, it's not like everybody use you, but get high off the idea of helping people. So it's like,
you always, it's almost like you always
negative.
look for a crisis. You are
Have to
always,
be the hero. You got to run on the scene and save this man from the burning building. When the fireman did that already, you have to be the one to go up there and get him.
you know what that when I started my master's in counseling, and when I started school, well, you ever do some things and it's for school, but then when you got in the class, you're like, holy shit, this is like for me. I needed this. It wasn't really school, it was therapy. And one of the classes I did, I forgot the name of this class, but what stood out to me was I never, like you said, because I never knew this about myself, is that I had a need to be needed.
Some people have a need to be nice. I think for a while I had that.
Yep.
I'm probably changing it now.
Because you don't want to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah.
You don't want people
to
to be upset with you. You don't want people to be uncomfortable with you. You don't want, but yeah. I'm brother, you're with me and you. Same shit. Yep.
But
and it's to the detriment of your own self, because there are certain things where you're just like, we see it like as a self martyrdom, like I am sacrificing so that this person can be okay.
But that's why I tell us, you have two dynamics. You have in that one self-sacrifice to be like, oh my God, I am the one sacrifice. Like there was like loads the fact that they're the one, and then you have the one to get high, like the one that be like, oh my God, I'm the one sacrificing. Next one be like, oh my God, I'm the one sacrificing. You understand?
So but I think they're one in the same. I don't see it different like that. I think it's one in the same.
It's how you then look at being needed.
No.
Some people look funny
in a way, like one in the same.
I'm always being used, and then one is
listen.
I am Mr. Reliable.
But this is why I say it's one in the same, though.
Because it's one in the same. It is. It's just how you look. It's just how the.
Call me good. Let me show off my dinner.
Yeah, that's right. It's just how the individual that is a fixer internalize it. That's what I'm talking about. It's the same thing, Don't get me wrong. It's all the same.
No, but it's the same. But
how you internalize it.
But here's my thing.
How you look at yourself at the end of the day.
But here's the thing. Reason why I'm saying it's one and the same, because it starts here and ends here. It starts out where if you're the person has a need to be needed and you get a sense of self-worth. So when we talk about getting high, it's like your self-worth and self-worth is the way how you view yourself and feel about yourself. The way you view yourself and feel about yourself comes from the fact that you are able to be the savior to other people, right? So it starts there. Then when you save and you do and you give and you do all this shit, then you look, and then over time and you come down the road and you're like, I'm giving all this stuff and I feel used. So you start here, and then so you have a dual dynamic going on. You're just like, you can't stop yourself, because this is where you find your self-worth. But at the same time, while you're doing it, you are feeling like I am being used. But at the same time, you won't stop, or you won't put up boundaries because you
All right.
want to, like you want to, but and then you resent the fact that you are doing it and that you want to, because now you feel like you're being used, because either one, there's no reciprocation, because a lot of times people who tend to attach to us, they're takers, and they take and take and take and take and take and take and take, and what they give back,
Like,
you give them this much and they give you that much and you're
and it's
just,
like
you
it's at
know.
the same time. It's at the same concept of the habitual complainer. The person will tell you how much their job suck and it's the worst thing and I hate this
Yes.
job, but they'll never look a new job.
No, never. You're
Yeah,
just
that's
like,
that.
why
It's like the
are you
person
doing this
always has to have something to complain about.
all
Because once
fucking
your
time?
life is fixed,
And you're just
there's
like, fix
nothing to
it,
complain about.
and you just
It's
not
like
fixing
your
it.
life become empty now. So if you're the type of person, because you have many type of fixers, you have the fixer, the one that gives a listening ear, that listen, that be the sounding board or the drum that you just dump all your thing in. You have a fixer who physically goes out, made money, time, they physically put effort into it. Some form of resources, right? So you have the two type of fixers. So a lot of people, so the complainer, he would like the fixer that listens, that continuously listens, always be there
Listen,
to
and
listen, listen,
on and
listen.
on and on.
Because he's not gonna like the fixer that's gonna go out there and look at the job and be like, yo, you say here's a job, I found this one. You don't want him. You want the one to listen.
Mhm.
You understand?
Yeah.
And then you have the next people them know you want resources. Like you have the one know you want the fixer will go do things for you. You're gonna be like, oh, I want a job. So he's gonna be like, me don't want a job, but me not no laptop. So he gonna get you one laptop. Oh, me not no internet. He gonna pay for your internet. Oh, me need a printer. Yeah, you understand? So the person, so you have two types. You have the one who physically gets you the stuff, and you have the one who just did it all the time for you. You understand? So it depends
Mhm.
on who the person is, what narcissistic trait, because most of the time it's narcissistic people are narcissistic traits. It have to be fully narcissistic. But certain type of trait will determine the type of fixer that the person
You
latches
gonna
on to.
latch on to.
So if you want a complainer, you want the person go always listen to your complaint.
And they're not gonna challenge you
Always,
to do something different. They're not gonna
yeah.
say,
They be
okay,
like,
so let's
why
go.
people boy, me hate my job, your boss wicked. Yes, man, you wicked for really, boy, I don't like you, know. Yeah.
Or so here's where the thing is. And I had to come to the realization that, because when you go through and over time and you become resentful, and I come to this realization, the very thing that the way God made you, and the very thing that brings blessings into your life and makes you truly happy, because if you're like a fish, you don't want to be on dry land. You're a fish, you love water. I truly love helping. I truly love um you know being able to be a service. But I had to come to the realization that that cannot be where I define or where my self worth comes from, first
True.
of all. Second of all, I had to also put up healthy boundaries with people. And in the process of putting up, especially if someone has been in your life for before, when you were a dysfunctional helper, 'cause that's what we are. When you're a dysfunctional helper and you have people in your life who was there during that period when you were a dysfunctional helper, and then now you're changing and transitioning because now you want to be healthy. It's almost like sometimes you have a pushback and a kick and scream and push, and you have to realize that that's what's going on and you have to stay the course. And then you also have to realize that, listen, because a lot of times it's like, in school, I don't know if they still do it now in school, like you get certificates and you're like, I used to get these all the time. Trina is so dependable. I was so proud of those little certificates. Oh, the teacher can depend on me. Oh, yes. So like in my friendships and interactions, I want to be the dependable person. So it's like, and you don't realize that in a sense, it's not bad to be dependable, but you also have to realize that you cannot be the, and this is gonna sound bad, like you said, that need to be needed. You feel like you are like that anchor in these people's lives. Like I cannot be the anchor in your life.
No.
I cannot be the anchor in your life. I cannot be your oxygen. I cannot be your anchor.
Or the
And
crutch.
are your
Sometimes
crutch.
you feel
Yes.
hungry, sometimes you
I
feel this your
cannot be
perfect
that for
crutch.
you.
It's like
But
you
sometimes
can't
as helpers, we don't realize that we are doing the very people that we want to help. We are doing
that
them a
service.
disservice by becoming
Because
the
you're not
anchor,
feeding
the
fish, you're
crutch.
giving fish.
Huh?
You're becoming hungry, you're becoming crutch. So
Yeah.
they don't know, they don't learn healthy ways to cope. And
Yes.
also, you
Yes.
might also not learn healthy ways to cope because you're so busy helping everybody else that you're not helping your own self.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So it's like, it's about improving. And that is it. Once you start do that work on yourself and you start improve, or you find yourself in a different space, you start become more aware of these things, and you say, I just start learn to be like, no, I can't be that anchor for you. I can't be that crutch. It's not like I can't be there for you, but be, I can't be that important, right? Can I be example? You can't have one person, and this you see this happen in movies like a lot of times. People were married, and some between husband and wife, and who fix or who then talk to is like they talk about like triangulation. It comes to anyone because of triangulation. You talk to like a friend. Yes, son. P Here the vent the problem, the fix the whatever. You talk to the person, you never actually talk to your spouse.
Right.
In most comedies, it always end up being some hell shit at the end of it, or some because miscommunication, you never talk. So it's like that concept. It's like you cannot be that person in the movie that the married person gonna talk to. Be anchor them shit
Or
together. You
or
need if they're in like in a committed relationship like a marriage, the person that they're with, like that first line of contact, the first person that should solve that issue or fix or maneuver or try to fix that issue is the person that is closest to them.
which should be their
Yes,
spouse, you would think.
it should be yourself, then your spouse.
But
You
even
understand?
if
And it
you are
goes
the
out.
friend because every like people are not island. And again,
No, you need
even
it.
if you are the friend that if they come and they talk to, it should be in the context of, in my opinion. All right, so
What are you gonna do after we
yeah,
have this conversation? What happens next? How are you gonna fix
what
it?
are you so are you're going
What
to
are you
talk
gonna
to
say to
your,
your husband? What are you gonna say to
yeah.
your wife? Like,
So
okay,
talking to me, you're kind of like, if you're talking to me as a friend, and sometimes, and again, this is all the stuff as a helper, have to like, it can't be just we're over here venting and we are bashing the person that you're with, because at the end of the day, that's stupid because you're still with them.
exactly.
And if it's but sometimes you have to understand, like when people have a vent, okay, yeah, we vent,
So
but
never
then
been. If you're
but
venting to
then
get clarity, to clear
yes,
your mind, that's different.
exactly. The venting is clarifying to clear your mind. But then we're going to say, all right, how are you going to address this with your spouse? You always have to be like, because, how are you going to put this back over here?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes too, the other thing that I am learning is, because sometimes you talk about the same thing over and over and over, and
Sometimes you cannot fix it. You
and
just gotta
again,
be like,
you also have to be the
I'm
person
done.
to say, yo, we've
We
talked
ain't talking
about
about
this
this
for
anymore.
three
I already
times.
told you what you need to
We're
do.
not talking about this anymore.
We're done.
You know what you need to do. So unless you do it, we are no longer having this conversation. And that is you removing yourself from being the crutch. Because now that you're forcing them to have to do, unless they're going to go find another crutch that they can just go talk to. Well, that's on them. But you as a healthy person and becoming healthy and not having that need, because you know what? You see, if you have that need to be needed, you are not going to push them towards a solution.
That's what the point. That's it.
You're not going to push them toward a solution. You're not going to push them towards like fixing. You're not going to push them towards being healthy, having healthy relationships, healthy conversations, because you want them to constantly come to you. But sometimes consciously you don't even realize that's what you're doing. But when you have to, but when you start the work in yourself though, and that healing process, you're gonna realize, and then you have to stop it right in the bud and be like, yo, health, you're gonna have to go back here. You're gonna have to go back over here, and you know what to do. And until you do it, we're not having this conversation. The next conversation that we're gonna have is, how
What
did
was
you fix it? What
how
happened? What the outcome was? And how can I help you in this process?
it's like that. So it's like that's what I've been thinking about like recently. Like how being a fixer, being a helper, whatever, being Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Reliable, reliable, whatever you want to call it. How 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 does one do this better?
Mhm.
And the first thing, like that's like as Confucius I think said it, to me is one of the greatest, probably one of like the greatest things ever anybody has ever said. I think it is, or one of, because I have a few, is know thyself. And it's becoming self-aware, as I said, because you will do these things not realizing that you are the crutch,
Mhm.
the anchor, the this, the that. It's being self-aware of when you are becoming that, or when somebody is making you into
Making you
that.
into that.
So to be like, no, there's a healthy boundaries. And also, because this the next thing with givers, and this is what a lot of givers will do, and then it comes from the idea of you feeling resentful.
Mhm.
You also have to learn. Gary Vee said this. He said you have to learn to give without expectation.
True.
So it may be an advice, it may be a listening ear, maybe finances, maybe resources, whatever. You have to learn to give without expectation. Because and with learning that, you also learn to do what is within your means. So you never end up feeling like you're sacrificing
You're right.
for this other person,
Right.
maybe a family member, whoever.
Right.
So those are the things that I think, because a lot of people, as I said, because me, I probably won't be the person to blame me like, oh, I'm being used, whatever. But I've heard women say that a lot. People that are empaths, compassionate, are quote unquote have a big heart.
Mhm.
Oh, they become jaded because people have to use them, and I'm like, and like closed, they become closed off and all of that, and I'm like, maybe it's not the people that are the problem.
It's
It's
you.
us. We need to learn to do this better.
But hear what? Because it doesn't matter if you're a helper or a nurturer or not. At the end of the day, the type of relationship that you have with an individual or with anybody, you teach people what kind of relationship you want or what type of relationship to
They
have.
ever say that you create your own monster,
Yeah, you create your own monster. So if you don't want
relation,
people to use
husband,
you,
wife, children,
you
whatever.
have to have good boundaries. If you don't want to always feel like you're being used and taken advantage of, you have to have good boundaries. And that sometimes you're gonna have to say no, or you will go this far and no more,
And and
or
and, and some people
or
are
just
going like
like,
you.
I can't help
You have
you.
to be willing to not be liked, to
Yes.
not.
And
You
stuff
have
like
to break
that.
the cycle. Not to.
Yes.
You have to be willing not to feel needed.
But here's the other thing.
Willing not to
There's
be
also,
like.
okay, when you are breaking free from this, um, it for me, I had an internal conflict with myself because one, I felt guilty, and the feeling of just sitting there, it's like an uncomfortable feeling when you start putting up boundaries, it's internally, it's uncomfortable because the things that you used to do, you no longer do it. So let's say even
That
if
in
I
the
have,
comfort zone.
and it's not the person, it's you. Like, you are changing, and you have to stay the course and push through that. That is like when you're working out and then you start having like aches and pains, and you're like, well, I'm done with this working out thing because it hurts and I'm not doing this anymore. you
But it's
never
gonna
you
hurt.
never you never get to the summer body. You're not gonna get to the summer body because you need to feel the pain and feel the burn to get to the summer body. It's the same thing when it comes to when you're changing the dynamics of, and I really had to get to that. Like, you not only have to have like the head knowledge about it, but you also have to have like
The
the
practical but knowledge.
yeah, and that like
To
stick
that.
what they
How
call
does
it.
that look like in your
Yeah,
physical life?
and that stick to
Does it mean
itiveness.
you have like a specific time where someone can call you? Does it mean, like, you understand, like, you, the type of conversations you entertain, like, you have to, how does that execute in the
Yeah,
physical world?
and
Because the
you
concept
have to
in your
be you,
head,
and when
but
you
how it
feel
execute physical.
uncomfortable, when you put up the boundaries and it feels freaking uncomfortable, you can't then go back and be like, oh, this feels uncomfortable, so I'm just going to revert to what I normally do. You have to stick with it. You have to stick with it and stick it out until it becomes, because you're changing, until it becomes the norm. And you cannot, and here's the other thing that helpers do. We take responsibility for how other people are feeling.
Feeling.
You feel the way you feel, and I can't take responsibility for it. The only thing I can make sure that I'm doing is that my intentions are pure.
Yo, trust me. Yeah.
My intention towards you and what I'm doing is not coming from anywhere malicious. It's not coming from like I'm just it's pure. It's pure, and I'm letting you know, like, yo, I'm not trying to hurt you. However, I'm not gonna sit here with you anymore and talk about Mary Jane. And it's not mean I'm a bad friend. I'm just not doing it anymore. I'm not going to sit here with you and talk with you for 10 hours on the phone every single day. I got shit to do. So I'm not trying to be a bad friend. However, I can't do this anymore. So how that person feels about it, if that person is mature in their emotions, they'll be like, yo, you know what? Charles is a
I
good friend
understand
to
that.
me. And I don't want to lose this friendship. We just go on, it's different. I'm not used to this new Charles, but I'm going to respect my friend and these new boundaries. But then you will know like the type of friendship you really have, because there's some
Oh,
people, when you
some
start
people
doing
just
this,
go disappear.
they're just going to leave you because guess what? You are not giving them what they need. And what they need is they
Is
need
that thing.
you to remain the way you are because this is how they like you. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with that. Or they're going to say, this is different. This is really uncomfortable. And this is forcing me to, Jamaica then say every tub of stand up on their own bottom. This is forcing me on an emotional level to sit in my own stuff and figure it out and not go dump it all on Charles. I don't like it, but also I know Charles is good people. So I'm gonna just have to work this out and do what I need to do to get what I need someplace else and not here, because this friendship is actually good. You gonna know. And then depending, either way, you gonna have to be okay with it.
Yep.
Or the other thing that may happen is they come back and say, well, they try to guilt you into doing the very thing that you just told them that no, I'm not doing. And you have to throw that right back at them too. Nope, this is not mine. Not mine to take. This is your shit. And I'm not taking this on. And that is also a form of manipulation. And you have to be able to spot that shit. You
Yeah,
will not manipulate me into
but a
doing
lot
what
of
I told you I
fixers,
am not going to do.
but a lot of fixers, a lot of people that are fixers, empaths, you get manipulated like that because you don't even realize. Again,
True.
because they're playing with your need to make things all right, your need to
Mm-hmm.
nurture. People use this against you and they play off of it to get what they want. So as I say, as you create the boundaries and you do what you're supposed to do, you will know the people that are like that. Like you will start noticing because sometimes young people will be a circle of friends for years. And when they start making certain changes, that's when certain things they used to do all the while, they'll start be like, huh,
Yeah. Huh.
like,
Yeah.
and I like you finally notice that like, huh,
Then
why is it that you always get the last word? Like that's like, why is it that I never go to the food place that I want to go? It's always where you want to
you want to
go.
go. Yeah.
Like why is it every conversation talk for an hour, but 50 minutes of it is
Is
all about
you.
your day? You probably just start the first day like, how are you? How are you doing? And as we say, yeah, I'm a good man. Okay, yeah, start. Other conversation,
It's all about
it's
you.
all about you. It's like,
Yeah.
and then now you start realizing you're like, huh.
This relationship is rather one-sided. But here's the other thing, a tip that I am using, like when you get in a situation where people are trying to like manipulate you or throw that in there for you to do what they want, is like, one, you separate yourself. So if you need to say like, okay, if they want to answer, say, I'll get back to you. Because a lot of times when your emotions are involved, you'll make an emotional decision versus if you say,
Yeah,
give me some
I've heard
time,
that.
I'll talk to you
I've heard
about,
that.
let me think about it and I'll get back to you tomorrow.
I heard
That
somebody,
actually helps.
I don't know where that came from, where somebody's like,
Actually
yo,
helps.
certain people call you and ask me certain things. Instead of tell them, say, me call you back.
Yep, truly.
Just to
Because when
break the
all that emotion
conversation,
gets involved and
break
then
that
they make you
whatever
feel bad,
you can
and then
think
you're
about
like,
it,
oh my
then
God.
answer
But
them.
then, yeah,
Yeah.
if you have that
I'll
little
call you back.
gap in between
I'll call you
where you're
I'll call
like, and it doesn't matter what it is. Hey, can I have that
you.
bottle of water?
Is
Hold on.
it Ian Musk?
I'll get
Is it
back to you
Ian
tomorrow.
that said that? I
You
don't know
know,
if it's
like, hey,
I
can I?
don't remember.
Doesn't
But
matter
I
what it is.
read somewhere, or I watched it somewhere where somebody said that, like, yo, if you're a person that is always giving,
Yep.
and people just call you, one of the basic things you can do is always like, yo, me call you back.
Yep.
Just to break that so you can think and then answer. Because if they probably get you on the spot and you're not strong enough, you'll say yes or give in to whatever.
Or
So you're just like,
comply
I'll
or
call you back.
give in to what they want and you don't even realize. And then after the
You're just
fact,
like, yo,
you're
I'll call
like,
you back.
when after you think about it, you're like, shit. Versus if you had just taken a step back, just breathe, get out of that space. And it doesn't matter, even if you're in front of them and it's like a pressure right now, because this what that pressure situation right this minute. You don't let any, you have to take command of your
Check on
space.
some things and make it and just leave. Like, yo, I
You
gotta
just have
check
to
on some
take
stuff.
command of your space because,
Let me talk to you.
yep, because
I'll
it's
call you.
your
I'll call you when I get home. Let me look into that and I'll call you when I get home.
yep, it's your emotional real estate. It's your emotional real estate, and you can't make other people come and encroach in your spot. You don't you don't pitch no tents here. Nope, you will not. So even if it's like you're in the shop and they're like, hey, can I borrow $1? And you're like, actually, let me think about that. And you're like, but I need to pay for the thing right now. Well, you should have thought about that before you came in the store. Let me think about it. And just walk out. Just walk away. Just walk away.
Walk away.
Yep.
So I think the
Go
end of the
look
day,
around the store some other place.
I think at the end of the day, as you grow and as you walk this journey of life, you become more self-aware. That's what the fear that one day the computers become self-aware. Um, as we ourselves become self-aware, like these are the things that you kind of start look for and start think about. It'll be interesting to hear like if there are other people that have experienced this
Yeah.
paradigm shift, Or you yourself now start think about some things we never think about before by hearing this conversation. Join the exchange.
Yeah.
Share your
Share your
experience, like
thoughts, man.
especially your experience. Like after you have made a ship, did like one 20-year relationship, friendship just evaporate.
Did it end?
Like yes, and like
Or did
share
that
your
person
experiences,
change with you and become a
change with
healthier
you, and
individual?
become a better friend, and your friendship
Yeah.
grew and got
Grow
stronger.
in a, yeah.
So share the exchange, like share your thoughts, join the exchange. We would like to see like what other people think, what other people experiences are on this concept of being a helper, but now being a better helper, not only to others but to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.